Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for requesting this private session that Melissa and I are going to do. If you haven't already seen the summit interview, I definitely encourage you to check that out and understand a little bit more about what EFT tapping is all about. So what we're going to do is we are going to tap on what came up in the interview, which was those feelings of not being enough that seem to underlie all sorts of different things for us. And I would love to see what I can do to make this as personal for you as you're willing to let it be, Melissa, and kind of gather some data. And then what we'll do is we'll do an official round of tapping, and everybody can kind of do it along with us as they watch, and we'll see what kind of shifts happen. So when you think about not enoughness, what kind of things come up for you? Are there specific feelings or circumstances or things that come to mind?
Imposter syndrome,
Okay.
being judged, not looking good, not using my voice, worrying about what others might think.
And when you think these kind of things, what kind of stuff normally happens?
I call it my turtle. I turtle. So I come out and then I just go back into my shell.
I love it. That's perfect. Um, so you kind of start to do something and then you stop.
Yeah. Or I think about using my voice and then I don't. And then beat myself up over that later.
Does that happen to you literally, like you start to talk about something and then you find yourself not being able to talk about it? Or is it more like you have an idea about projecting yourself out there and then you don't?
It's usually right here and it's ready to come out. And I'm because I start thinking about what if it doesn't come out right? What if I don't say the right thing?
Okay.
So that's kind of a back to maybe not trusting myself as well as where that's coming from. The not good enough, not trusting myself.
And usually that's some kind of a throat chakra blockage also in the work that I do. I see that a lot. Um, and it prevents us from bringing a lot of things into manifestation because, as we have an idea, you have that idea up here, like seventh chakra, and then you start to bring it down and you're thinking about it, you're thinking, oh, what am I going to do next to make it happen? And then part of that is voicing it, maybe sharing that idea with a friend, a coworker, a spouse, whoever the important people are to share it with in order for it to get to that next level. And depending on how we share it, sometimes we get stuck and we can't share it. Sometimes we share it in a way that's not helpful for the way that it needs to be created. All that kind of stuff can happen. And usually that's a blockage there energetically for a whole bunch of different reasons. So then there's this lack of trust. And what ends up normally happening to the ideas? Do they not come to fruition, or do they manifest differently than you would hope? Or
Both. Most of the time they don't come to fruition. And then I am a ball of or I do that with the explosion.
okay, like get angry.
hmm I don't do that as much anymore, but that was my now I've detached a little bit from the results. So I'm learning if I detach from the results, then I I can actually work through that. Um, but it can still be there. And sometimes it's interesting that you say the throat, which I haven't told that before, with breath work and such, but
Mhm.
it will actually manifest into like a sore throat or something. If I get sick, that's usually where I get sick.
Yeah, physical manifestations of emotional stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and just to touch on the angry part of it, because I think sometimes people can feel like we have a lot of judgment on ourselves when we get angry, like that we're not supposed to be angry or that we're supposed to push it down or handle it differently. Anger can be really important for, turning emotions into empowerment energy. Sometimes we have to get angry in order to express things and allow the emotions to move up to scale from disempowered and having no voice to really being able to have that empowered energy and feel good about things. Anger is in the middle of all that. So we actually have to move through that. And for people who avoid anger, or maybe for people who grew up around people who were angry and have kind of made this vow, whether conscious or not, like I'm never going to behave that way because I was treated that way and I'm not going to be the one that spreads
Yeah.
that. At the same token, like we all have our reasons and our right to our anger. And it's courage is hard, the turning it into what it needs to be, is, rage of the heart, and it's how we turn it into empowerment. So it's important to notice those times when you want to get angry. It doesn't mean that, it has to hurt anybody or anything else, but sometimes
Yeah.
even just simply tapping through a round of like how pissed off and angry and whatever else you want to say you are, and allowing yourself to have that emotion, to have those feelings, and to love, accept, and forgive yourself despite the fact that you have ugly, angry feelings, like we all do.
Yeah.
So, and it feels so much better when you acknowledge them. Like if you're feeling angry, that anger is there to tell you something. So allowing it to come up and out is an important part of the process. So just want to say that.
I love that. I'm going to use that. This is the rage of my heart. I mean,
Yeah, let it
yeah,
let it be let it become empowerment instead of,
yeah,
because when we shove it down, then it's like it puts everything out, and then we're
yeah,
back to feeling the despair and yeah. So don't do that. It's
yeah.
okay to be angry. That's like one of my favorite messages to give people. Like it's all right. And there's really good, safe ways to move that emotion. So back to the not enoughness. So not using your voice, worried about what people are going to think. Um, does this come up in like all different areas of like business for you, or all different areas of life in general? Is there a specific
Yes,
business that you notice it?
I'm a people pleaser, so
Mm,
yeah,
okay. So probably like it's just showing up across the board. Okay.
yes.
All right. So when you think about, is there anything that you're doing like right now that would put you in that position? Like whether it's like posting on social media or even like doing interviews for the summit or
Um,
anything like that, are there like little pieces of your life right now that kind of puts you into that feeling?
oh yeah, yeah. So I'm doing like coaching. I'm doing so many things, and I'm also stuck in the busyness.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything that you said. Basically, everything that you said in there. It's
I feel
all
you.
of it.
I honor that. Okay. Cool. I just, because, and for anybody who's listening and doing this along with us, try to bring up that thing. Like, maybe today, later on, you're planning on posting something on social media for your business and you're getting the feels about that. Maybe you have a job interview. Maybe, you have a big, scary discussion that you need to have with your spouse that, you're afraid you're going to pop into people pleasing or not feel like yourself during it or not be able to get the words out. Whatever the thing is, try to bring that front and center in your mind as we're doing this tapping
Okay.
so that it can get the attention through the more general way that we're going to tap on this so that it helps
Okay.
everybody. So yeah, bring something forward, and then we definitely want to get a rating before we hop in here. So on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is feeling it the most and 0 is feeling it the least, um, how much do you feel that you're not enough when you think about doing those things?
Ooh, it's gotten better, but I would say probably at least maybe a 6 or 7. At
Cool.
least 7. Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's just in the moment. That's
Yeah.
all that really matters. Like we've all done work and we've had situations where we're like, wow, I nailed that one, but then something tomorrow, like it's back again. So, I honor the work that you've done and I appreciate it. And also, even I get into stuff where I'm like, I don't know, I'm just not enough for this right now. And, you just have to work through it from whatever the present thing that's happening is. Because that's all that matters. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what happened, 10 years ago that we didn't feel enough about, or what we're worried about happening tomorrow. It's how we're feeling right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by tapping on the side of the hand, and I'm just going to have you repeat after me, and we're just going to go through one round of tapping together, and then we're going to see if this perhaps increases the confidence or the feelings of not enoughness start to wane away a little bit just from a few minutes of regulating ourselves around it. All right, here we go. I like to start with just a nice deep inhale in. Breathe in through the nose and out through. Even though I don't feel like I'm enough.
Even though I don't feel like I'm enough.
And I have all these reasons why I don't feel like I'm enough.
I have all of these reasons why I don't feel like I'm enough.
All this proof from things that have happened in my past.
All this proof that things that have happened in my past
I want to love and accept myself anyway.
I want to love and accept myself anyway,
Even though I have all these worries,
even though I have all these worries,
all these tendencies to want to please people.
all these tendencies to want to please people.
And I'm afraid I'm going to fall short.
And I'm afraid I'm going to fall short.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
And even though it's so hard to use my voice sometimes,
Even though it's so hard to use my voice sometimes,
because I'm afraid that what's going to come out won't be enough.
I'm afraid that what's going to come out won't be enough
Or it won't be understood the way I want it to be.
or understood the way I want it to be.
I'm open to the idea that I can love and accept myself anyway.
I'm open to the idea that I can love and accept myself anyway.
Now we're going to start going through the other points. All these feelings of not being enough.
All these feelings of not being enough,
They make me go into turtle mode.
they make me go into turtle mode.
1 minute, I'm thinking I'm going to express myself and do the thing.
1 minute I'm thinking I'm going to express myself and do the thing.
And then the next minute, I'm taking it all back.
And next minute I'm taking it all back.
I'm restricting and constricting.
I'm restricting and constricting.
And I can feel it in my throat.
I can feel it in my throat.
I can feel it in my inability to use my voice the way I want to.
I can feel it in the inability in myself to use my voice the way I want to.
All this fear that I'm not enough.
All this fear that I'm not enough.
All this fear that I'm not going to be enough.
All this fear that I'm not going to be enough.
And there's shame along with it too.
And there's shame along with it too.
From all the times that I don't feel like I was enough.
All the times I don't feel like I was enough.
And all the regrets I have for the times that I turtled.
And all the regrets I have for the times I turtled.
So worried that things might not happen the way that I want them to.
So worried that things might not happen the way that I want them to.
And then you know what?
And you know what?
Then things don't happen the way that I want them to.
Then things don't happen the way I want them to.
It's really quite the self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's really quite the self-fulfilling prophecy.
I have this thought that it's not going to work out.
I have this thought that it's not going to work out.
And I have this belief that I'm not going to be enough.
And I have this belief it's not going to be enough.
And then I just don't show up.
I just don't show up.
I dilute myself.
I dilute myself.
I keep myself quiet.
Keep myself quiet.
And then I turn that into proof that I can't do these things.
And then I turn that into proof that I can't do these things.
What if it's all simply a lie?
What if it's all simply a lie?
And what if I could tell myself a better one?
What if I could tell myself a better one?
Clearing all of this self-doubt down to a cellular level.
Clearing all of the self-doubt down to a cellular level.
Opening up to the idea that I actually am enough to accomplish these things.
Opening up to the idea that I actually am enough to accomplish these things.
God and the universe thought I was enough.
Out in the universe thought I was enough.
So how could that be a lie?
How could that be a lie?
Releasing all these negative feelings about who I am,
Releasing all these negative feelings about who I am,
what people will think of me,
what people will think of me,
how I'll look,
how I'll,
And opening up to all the feelings that await me on the other side of doing that thing.
Opening up to all the feelings on the other side of doing things.
The confidence, the self-acceptance,
Confidence, the self-acceptance,
the enoughness,
the enoughness,
and realizing it's already inside of me.
realizing it's already inside of me.
All right, take a nice deep breath again in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then if you would, just share a little bit about any aha moments, feelings, things that came up for you while we were doing that.
It shifted. So from when I was talking to you, I felt like it was almost like a ball of energy, and it felt lighter. And I went through the whole thing, and it was kind of going a little bit at a time, but I think it was at the word confidence that it was like kind of the trigger that when
Yeah.
confidence. And I even noticed because I remember you saying that it's like a light bulb kind of where people realize.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you said that, like I smiled and I felt lighter.
Yeah. I noticed a few times when you almost seemed to get like a hitch in your breath, like I thought maybe
Yeah.
you'd like tear up or something. And then I
Yeah.
noticed a couple of times when I could really feel you kind of like letting down a little bit and
Yeah.
coming into that more. So
Yeah. And also like a little release here.
good.
So when you say like that, so like instead of being here kind of a little more, more relaxed.
Yeah, that's like the one reminder. I often think I should just have it on like the home screen of my phone, like drop your shoulders. Just
Yeah.
problems. It's okay. You
I,
don't need to keep carrying everything on them.
I was
So
actually interviewing yesterday a physical therapist, and she was saying how someone told her, like, stop wearing your shoulders as earrings. And so, like, I'm going to remember that.
I think we all do. As the tension
Yeah.
builds, they just keep creeping up more and
Yeah.
more. And yeah, it's a good thing to
Yeah.
just
Then we
kind of
wonder why
roll
our
them.
shoulders hurt, and our neck hurts.
Yes, absolutely. So where would you put yourself on that scale of 0 to 10 now that we finished that single round of tapping?
Right now, pretty low. I'd say maybe three,
Awesome.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So we more than cut it in half
Yeah.
in just a few minutes. And, I always try to kind of keep these rounds that are going, into the resource as kind of general, but
Mhm.
EFT does love specificity. So whenever, if we were working together one-on-one, this is the point where I'd be saying to you, all right, Melissa, so what's that 2 or 3 made up of? And what's still left for you, and then we kind of dig in there, and that's how you start getting yourself closer and closer to the root of the issue and really weeding it out. The more specific you can get about the feelings that you're having, the experiences that you're worried about, all of that kind of stuff can really make this a much more powerful round. So for any of you who are doing this and watching the video, feel free to do it again and personalize it a little bit more, or add in a little bit more of your own, actual feelings and things to it, and see if that makes any kind of difference for you. I always love to hear from people when they do this. So feel free to send me an email, Theresa@teresalearlevine.com. I would imagine Melissa would be more than delighted to hear from you too. Do you want to drop your email address?
Yes, it is melissa@connectthrive.live.
Perfect. And thank you everyone for tapping along with us and trying this out. And thank you for tapping with me, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
That was,
Happy
I
to be
feel,
of service.
yeah, I feel so much better. And I can go do a live. That is a great idea.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.